total. So maybe it's the, top 7 people earn a star on XP. So maybe it's the person on the losing team as well that's number 1.
I think that the star system should be replaced, but I don't know how that could be done.
I see a lot of irrevocables. Make tier 5 irrevocable. And watch the set.
Can't do that.
I did want to talk about irrevocables, but actually, a lot of the conversations about replacing the star system, or the save a star system in particular, they all run to the same problem, which is that the XP structure in this game is really bad at measuring real contribution, especially complex contributions. Things like zoning people out, things like providing information that doesn't result in somebody getting one-shotted. The game just doesn't reward those things very well. So if you were to do, one of the popular solutions is just the top 7 players in the game, XP-wise, win or lose, get the star, your destroyers would just be screwed, right? Because the XP system right now is just not up to the task of meaningfully telling contribution from not contribution.
So how do you get past that then? How do you measure one player versus another?
I don't think you do. I mean, I think that's why winning and losing is what it is. Ultimately, whatever you're doing, if it's leverageable into a win, you on average move up. It's a slow average, it's a noisy average too, but it kind of happens.
Right.
By the way, I'm playing this replay because you mentioned Des Moines. So here we go.
I love that ship.
See you guys.
About the irrevocables thing, though, because that's inherently also tied to save a star, right? There's been a phenomenon that I've sort of predicted and complained about, but then I left that bracket, and I'm curious. There's this theoretical potato trap that occurs every time a rank is made irrevocable. And this is the first season in a very long time where they made 10 one of them, right? It used to be, I think, 12 was irrevocable. And so you could drop back out of the 10 to 6 division if you just weren't doing it. This season you can't, right? Because that's also the tier transition. And so there's this, we predicted that 10 would accumulate just a lot of really bad players who could not perform at all, and that the 10 to 6 bracket would be really bad this season. But is that what you're seeing?
I agree with that, but the problem is, if you capped it irrevocable 12, I would have just driven myself to quit. Because transitioning back from my tier 8 boats to tier 10 boat to tier 8 boat to tier 10 boat, as I kind of YOLO back and forth there, that would just be maddening. It's like, I understand why they did it. I really do. But at the same time, it's just like, the idea of having 2 different tiers in a rank season, we've been down this road before. It didn't work out the last time. Why are we doing this again? If they want to do tier 10 rank, just make it tier 10 rank. If you want to do tier 8 rank, let's just do tier 8 rank. I mean, a lot of us are getting burned out by fair tier 10s. I love them to death still, but I'm even starting to feel the burn there. It's like, either rank needs to stay 6, 7, 8, or it just needs to be a straight out 10. None of this transition. Because then it makes the awkward situation where Wargaming has to find an answer to prevent the extreme, YOLOing effect that you would find in certain ranks.
Yeah, well, you see that a lot at the old season with rank 10 and rank 5, right? People rush in, they get themselves killed, and they jump into another game before they've dropped. So they're still in that higher tier, and they're hoping that they can stay, essentially. That's what you're getting at?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I have some thoughts about the irrevocable too, and I would agree in general with you that switching up the tiers definitely causes a change in the game flow and how everything works. I do like, though, like you said, that irrevocable is the same rank that the tier transition occurs. I think that's great because it allows for the players to adjust and that sort of thing in an environment that doesn't punish them and force them back down every time. Like you said, it would drive me bonkers too.
Well, the problem is it doesn't punish that specific player, but it punishes the
team.
Unfortunate team.
Right.
Yep.
That's why 10 is such a really hard to climb out of, because there's a lot of people that are playing in tier 10 that don't really belong in tier 10. It's always been the age-old issue, especially with tier 8 rank. Some new player buys that tier 8 premium, comes in, doesn't know how to angle, doesn't know how to shoot, doesn't know how to position himself, inevitably dies, and we all go, why did you do this?
So this is an important question that I've been thinking a lot about, and that is, why does it matter that you have a player that does that when all that matters is if you rank out or not?
Because I always had the pipe dream that rank should be always about, actually working together with a bunch of other skilled players to make amazing things happen. But in actual reality, that's just not the case.
The point I'm getting at... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's just, I'm going to go on a tangent there with that. It's no point in doing that.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because now that we've got clan battles, we're seeing that really high-level play. And also, LOL, you see he's shooting through the mountain here? But, I mean,
I do...
if we've got this ultra high tier competitive mode where everybody's working together, we've got team play, communication, all that kind of stuff, then what purpose does rank serve other than another method of random battles?
I don't think it does, and I kind of wish that they would just accept that and redesign the progression system around that idea.
So then comes the next question on that, unless you guys want to talk about this some more.
No.
Okay, so the next question then is, why should it matter if somebody else progresses on a system that you're trying to progress up?
Are we talking about, because now you'll matchmake with them and you don't like them as a teammate because you think they underperform?
Well,
or is this about the personal glory and how rank represents something special?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. We have a lot of players that want to make it really hard for bad players to rank out. My question is, why does it matter if they do rank out or don't?
I really have no care if you do 1,000 battles and you rank out. It's I just don't want to be that one that does 1,000 battles and rank out, because I'm going to feel absolutely horrible for doing that.
Sure.
It's I think that's just always the disconnect that the Warship community as a whole always has. And there's just, it's competitive nature. I don't even know if there is a simple way to fix that. Because I definitely am a person of that kind of attitude. And it really, really irks me for being that way. But there's really no easy answer.
And
I think what's going on is that ranked is kind of supposed to be competitive, but in reality, we all know it's not. If you put in enough time and you're not an absolute potato, anyone can rank out. So it's really just a matter of if you can endure assault, and that's the disconnect, because many good players can't rank out because they simply don't have time, or they just don't want to go through assault. But then you have certain players that can play 1,000 games and rank out, and everyone knows he's probably much worse than you. Yet he is "quote unquote" better in a competitive, in a ranked fashion.
Sure.
Just because he spent all that time.
And I mean, I've had games. There are players, we won't name them, but I mean, there are players that do rank out consistently in that kind of a setup, right? Where they spam games, they do really stupid things to the point where people get to learn their names, and when they see them on their team, they go, crap, or they see them on the enemy team, they're like, yes, an instant win, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the point I want to make here, though, is that we often see, I know it might sound weird, but I've seen a lot of these players actually improving from when I saw them originally. And I think it's interesting. Maybe it's taken them 5,000 games of ranked to get to that point, but I have seen improvement in a lot of these, and I think that it's important to move away from this feeling that like you guys are saying, ranked is you think it's super competitive and stuff like that, but in reality, all it is you've got 6 other strangers. How do you work with those 6 other strangers to beat 7 strangers on the enemy team. You know what I mean?
Zath, you are an optimist because you use the word with instead of around.
That's one way of putting it.
But that's a big part of how this works. And by the way, I hope you're seeing this brilliant Des Moines play here. Very patient, right? Almost 8 minutes in the exact same frickin' spot. But at the same time, the enemy team couldn't do anything about it.
No, he reminds me a lot about me.
Not the comment, I thought he was being too passive on the side of that mountain, given that they're down points right now. And I figured the Yang would have, had him spotted the whole time, so his team wouldn't have done, or the red team wouldn't have done what they just did, but I guess, okay.
Right?
As a Des Moines, I'm going to comment on that. It's literally because if is he a part of the clan? I can't really see the clan tag.
Yeah, he's Potato.
Okay, so immediately there is just like when I got a Des Moines. I was told, you survive to the late game, you carry game. And that's probably where this passive nature is coming from, because that's get beaten in your head by pretty much your friends and your comrades in a clan. Because that's true. If a Des Moines survives until the closing minutes of a game, it will carry.
Right. Now keep in
In the
mind,
story.
if you look at the ranks, this is a rank 5-2 game, so this is one of the, the ultra competitive mode, so to speak.
Right, so I don't blame him for playing passive there, because he knows how critical his role is to get his team to that late stage where he can shine then and carry them to victory.
Well, and if you look at the mini-map also, right, you've got one Des Moines on the other side, this Des Moines here, they're blocking off both positions. The Yu Yang is out there, but other than the Yu Yang, the entire enemy team is stuck. So, I mean...
Yeah, but there's a fundamental problem with that, right? Which is the enemy team had the 2 caps. Why did the red team push?
Because they got impatient.
Yeah, so they threw, but I mean, otherwise, that Des Moines double defensive position was actually losing them the game.
It only takes one person to throw. If one battleship decides to go in, then generally the team has to follow. Otherwise, then they'll be down on ships.
I mean, yeah, that's the only flaw here is that one of these Des Moines needed to be on the other side of the map. Because there's no reason to have 2 Des Moines on one cap. That's the only thing I would critique on that, is particularly this Des Moines player should have saw that Des Moines going there and joined the other fleet. Because now there's a DD hunting his Republic in Hindenburg that if he was there, would have been a non-factor, because then the Yu Yang has to always stay out of radar range. He would have to max range torpedo his targets, and he's running Hydro, so as long as he rotates between those 2 consumables, they're untouchable. They get to barge right into the cap, while this Des Moines here stalls this whole entire front here, and easy victory, because now you have a crossfire situation happening. Republic destroys everyone. Move on to the next game.
He also kind of got lucky because one of the enemy battleships died in the very beginning.
Yep.
Des Moines' biggest counter is really battleships, and that Conqueror went into the middle for some reason and just got himself killed. So, although his initial position to the left of that island was kind of bad, it turned out to be much better once Conqueror just died.
Oh my god, look at this. Hello.
Gary makes me sad. So, there's 2 Des Moines there, Gary. You're gonna have to make a painful choice. YOLO torp the Yami, or you're gonna YOLO torp that Des Moines that was right beside you. There was no point smoking up there. That's just hurting your team doing that.
Real quick, I want to read off what Muse was saying, or Blas. Biggest problem of ranked is where average players complain about their team, where the enemy team is almost equally as bad. That's an interesting point. If they were to play a ranked game full of good players, they would become one of the players they blame in their current state. So they complain about a situation where they have much more control and ease in winning than the one that they want. And I think that's an interesting way of looking at it.
It is true.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the correct way of looking at it. There's really no easy answer for the rank conundrum. And I understand now why Wargaming is in an odd position as it is. they don't really want to get rid of it, but at the same time, they gotta keep going with it. No matter how much the player base complains about it.
Oh no, we only complain about it when we're actually playing ranked. Once it's over, then we want it back.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, that really seems like it's sort of self-contradictory, but I've thought about it for a while, and honestly, I like the ranked game format. I hate the ranked progression system.
right. And if there was a way to mod out, and if anybody makes mods and is listening, please listen carefully to this, and if you can do it, I'll give you real money. But if there's a way to mod out that stupid screen telling you if you gained a star or lost a star, oh my god, all they'd have to do is get rid of that, and I'm happy. I'll play ranked until I rank out all of a sudden, hey cool, I'm done. But it's that constant seeing this star up, star down, star up, star down. I mean, that, to me, is the epitome of cancer.
If I was to say, I probably would go talk to people like Garfield and all them, because they probably could do that in probably an afternoon. I think it's just a simple screen. It shouldn't be that difficult, but I'm not a modder, so it doesn't seem like an impossible task.
I mean, they got rid of the dog tags. There's a dog tag remover mod, right?
Right. That's why I was like, if they could do that, I imagine they could do that as well. It's just a graphic. Just putting it up. Yeah. I'll just shut up now.
No, that's fine. Thanks for making that suggestion. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of like speaking for others that are not here, so that's like, why am I doing this?
That's all good.
Because I use this mod pack a lot, and he does good work. That's why I was like, he probably would know.
Well, if you know him, do me a favor and ask him.
I don't know him. I
Aw.
know of his Discord, but I don't really interact with him much. I think I only interacted with him once when there was an issue with his mod pack, and I was trying to figure out what was wrong with it, and that was almost like 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, if you can, send me the information. Seriously, like, that's the only, to me, that's like the only real quality of life improvement I need. I will be a happy camper playing ranked just instead of randoms. I mean, to me, that was